We call ourselves a lithium ion product based company because our approach to bringing solutions and solving gaps that exist in the current portfolio of products in the market was to first design a product that follows the voice of a certain ignored, neglected customer base.
So welcome to Leaders on a Mission. I'm your host, Simon Leach, and today we're going to be exploring the future of energy storage with Priyadarshi Panda, CEO of the International Battery Company. Now, as the world shifts really to renewable energy, advanced battery storage solutions, they're clearly essential. And Priyadarshi's leadership and innovations are really transforming how we go around, I suppose, storing and using energy. So join us to hear about his journey and about the cutting-edge technologies at International Battery Company and the impact on the global energy landscape. So, Priyadarshi, I'm super glad to dive straight in. I know you're traveling, a large amount these days, so really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today.
No, thanks a lot, Simon, for that kind introduction. Really appreciate it. Again, as you mentioned, trying to do something big in the battery space, both in terms of mobility as well as energy storage. Being manufacturing, being, skilled operations have to be where the action is. Travel is all part of the journey, but super excited to be here today. To chat with you about different aspects of the industry, a little bit more about myself as well as IBC, and looking forward to connecting with your viewers. Yeah.
Fantastic. Tell me, were you always destined for entrepreneurship? Do you think, looking back now?
Yeah, so Simon, honestly, if you look at my career background, it has been, I come from a very conservative thought process, not very conducive to entrepreneurship. I, started with an education at IIT, MIT, followed like that, that path of getting a bachelor's and then, doing a doctoral research, then joined some of the large companies in the US, worked at Intel, Lam, Applied. But as I was going through that journey, both during university, being at MIT, being in that crowd in Boston, which is very, very known for the entrepreneurship culture, thinking out of the box, and then transition to the Silicon Valley, which, would not be far-fetched to say is, one of these epicenters of entrepreneurship, especially high-tech entrepreneurship. So some of the influences with my friends, some of my work pattern during my work at corporate America, where I was taking initiative, I was, carving out smaller projects out of larger projects and, just building those out, even, building the teams out to accomplish those, having that mindset of, thinking out of the box, problem solving based, trying to get to a solution to an important question. So all those, I think, was brewing in my mind, that entrepreneurship idea, but didn't have a formal background through B school. Did have to learn a little bit about product market fit. Just tech innovation doesn't lead to a successful business. Did get that experience through a past small project that I was working on. We realized very quickly there wasn't a product market fit, so fail fast, build and fail fast. But those experiences, both at college as well as in corporate America, as well as the small gig in entrepreneurship, really built that character and that dogness in me, and a fundamental understanding of how to if at all I would participate and want to build a business. And it felt like it was the right time, felt like the right industry, and felt like I had the support of the right people, a team to embark on this journey. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, because you're only a year and a half into the journey as founder and CEO, right? So just looking at what the company have done, and we'll come to that in a bit, but probably feels a lot longer than a year and a half, doesn't it, with what you guys have achieved?
Absolutely. No, Simon, you're absolutely correct. about a year and 9 months since we started our journey. So, it's considered or still considered pretty early in a startup journey. But yes, we have accomplished a lot, Simon. A few things that helped us with moving fast. Of course, the experience. Myself as a founder, having been in high tech manufacturing for 15 plus years, and in addition, the amazing people we were able to hire who have different kind of complementary skill sets, be it in startups, be it corporate jobs, but having a finance, having a data background, some people with very fundamental research background, some people with quality background, all of who have had professional experience in the US for anywhere between 10 to 20, 25 years. So all that experience kind of combined together to be able to, I would say, identify risks and mitigate risks before we actually, we didn't have to, fail and learn and then build and fail and learn. We were able to, through theoretical exercises, mitigate a lot of the risks, which led to, succeeding in the first attempt. And hence, when you look at the accomplishments, it feels like a lot has been accomplished, and it does not feel like a year and a half, a year and 9 month old startup. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell us a bit about the big goal then with International kind of Battery Company in terms of, what problems you solve and, what the big dream is.
Sure. So, Simon, when we, started the company, the vision for the company that we as leadership kind of delineated was we will lead the energy transition through manufacturing excellence and innovation at scale to build a sustainable future for societies globally. So if you look at that vision, there are multiple aspects to it. One is energy transition. Energy transition are happening, mobility, EVs are happening. You're moving from ICE engines. This is a global phenomenon. In addition, if you look at energy storage or even energy production, it's very rapidly moving towards renewables. All these renewables have, they're called dirty energy, which means you need, batteries to stabilize the output, be it from solar, be it from wind, be it from hydro. So the both from a mobility as well as energy generation and storage perspective, a transition in the world is happening, a transition that's going to define our lives for the next half a century and century. So we want to lead that transition. But how do we lead that transition is through a product based approach, because if you don't have a product and you cannot deploy the product, you cannot make impact. You can have a vision, you can have an idea, but you have to be able to deliver that product, that idea at scale. So we continuously search for manufacturing excellence, continue to search for product build out. And then as you excel at manufacturing and build the product, we also want to innovate continuously. We want to always find better solutions. We always want to, you don't want to, remain in Stone Age. You started at Stone Age, but you want to get to Metal Age, you want to get to, sophisticated cities. So that transition, human evolution in this energy transition journey needs to happen, but that will happen through manufacturing excellence, through building product at scale, and through continuously innovating as you identify newer user needs as well as gaps in existing products, which could be in terms of the product specifications or could be in terms of efficiency of scaling that product in manufacturing. Now, our goal was always to follow, as we go through this conversation, hopefully I'll get to touch that, we follow a structured manufacturing approach. We designed the product, then we built a 50 megawatt hour facility. So it's called a copy exact approach. Now, with the 50 mega facility that we have built, now we can copy it exactly to larger factories. We are starting with India, but this can be built in a copy exact manner globally. So we want to, we are not thinking about one region, energy transition, clean energy, climate. It's, we globally, as citizens of the world, we collectively own Mother Earth. So we want to, impact the, communities globally, be it, through our product, be it through our solutions, be it through, building large factories, be it through employment, be it through, bringing, and enhancing skill set in different regions. So that global impact, doing this in a sustainable manner, is very important for us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, got it. So tell me about the product market fit then. Here, because I read a little bit about am I right pronouncing it right? The INMC prismatic battery cells, which is your innovation essentially, right?
Yep. So that's right, Simon. So the way, we approach the problem statement, as I said, product-based, approach. We like to think of ourselves as the Apple of the lithium-ion cell manufacturing industry. Again, there are a lot of amazing product-based companies in the world. You could question why not Tesla, why Apple, but and Tesla is very similar in terms of their approach. But we call ourselves a lithium-ion product-based company because our approach to bringing solutions and solving gaps that exist in the current portfolio of products in the market was to first design a product that follows the voice of a certain ignored, neglected customer base. And we found that in India, typically in markets, you would see that, customer is king. Customers, they design their products. These OEMs customers then demand input components for their product to the manufacturers of those input components. What we realized was happening in India was because it was still nascent, the market was growing in 2020, 21, 22. The Indian OEMs, especially in the mobility market, the two-wheeler, three-wheeler market, they were not component kind of askers. They were the component takers. They were like, going to China or Korea or, Japan in some cases, and just buying lithium-ion cells, which was designed for a different kind of, user base, different kind of, product characteristics, and trying to force fit into their products, which was successful for a while, but it's a short-term strategy. It, allows you to, hit the ground running, allows you to, kind of build quite a bit, but then it's not a sustainable mid-term to long-term business model. So that's where we focused on what was missing. And we saw that, what, the Indian, Southeast Asian customer base wanted was they wanted higher warranty. It's a cost-conscious customer base. They wanted faster charging because people are on the go. And there's going to be a lot more democratized charging as opposed to personal charging at homes. They wanted stability and safety of the battery packs. They wanted simpler battery pack integration. They wanted recyclability because a lot of products out there, especially LFP batteries, those are not economically viably recyclable. It is more expensive to recycle them than, the output that you can get because you get a little bit of, lithium from it, and lithium prices have crashed. So that's why, how do you make, a product that, is recyclable, is clean, and addresses those gaps in the market while also being cognizant of the fact that, our DNA is manufacturing at scale. This product that you're designing cannot be a wacko product, which you then realize you cannot actually scale. So it needs to be designed for high speed manufacturing or high volume manufacturing. So with those considerations, essentially, we built our NMC prismatic cells, nickel manganese cobalt prismatic cells. Now, the INMC that you mentioned, Simon, that is part of our roadmap. So what we wanted to do was first build a product that we knew that we could build at scale and deliver a solution to our customers. Just like, your iPhone 3, the iPhone 3 didn't try to, get you like 3 cameras with pixelated view, with front view, back view. They came with a simple product, which goes in the market, which consumers in the market who were using Blackberries or, Nokia or other phones, smartphones, but which were not content heavy. Those phones were more like, texting, call heavy, mobility heavy. How do you take that and transition the user base or, satisfy a gap among people to, absorb, to consume content? How do you give something so that people can watch their YouTubes, can, watch, their, shows on the go? So that was the philosophy of the iPhone 3. And as that solution was delivered to people at scale and manufacturing excellence was achieved, next stage was how do I continuously improve CIP, continuous improvement of that product. So that is a structured approach. So INMC is part of our CIP, continuous improvement. What INMC would deliver, in addition to what our product does right now, which is twice the warranty, faster charging very easily between 30 to 40 minutes, very good high temperature behavior, very good low temperature behavior, very wide operating temperature range. In addition to that, what INMC will do, it will expand that operating window to wider temperatures. It will give even faster charging. It will give much longer storage or much longer cycle life or warranty, which makes it like a slam dunk for very, very large long-term energy storage projects, which could be, in the middle of the Sahara, for, it could be anywhere. So that INMC basically is a CIP over our current product. But that is our, product-based approach. Build a product, build it at scale, deploy the product, solve a problem, identify what are the gaps in that problem, improve that product with, taking the top three, priorities that haven't been addressed. Then deploy that product, prove that you can do a CIP product at scale. Take those learnings, then address 2 or 3 other priority items and continuously, keep building, keep scaling in manufacturing and keep deploying and building a viable business.
Thank you for explaining that. How difficult has it been on the innovation side to, when I think about the last 5 years around the development of this, and you look at some of, the large companies out there that have developed kind of technology in this particular space, how different is your approach here in your product compared to the competitors? And, what's your competitive edge around this?
Right. So that's a great question, Simon. So when you look at the industry, Simon, I like to divide it into 2 different, categories of players. One is the large players like the Panasonics, in Japan, the LGs, Samsungs, SKs in Korea, the large guys in China, the CATL, BYD, Gallup, etc., etc. What these companies do is they know a product that they can build at scale, and they keep building that product, repeatedly. And their design philosophy is always built around increasing the energy density and giving you more range, because mobility gets more attention. It is the sexier of mobility and storage. So that's why, as a user, your mind, it absorbs information in terms of what is happening in the mobility market, and, range anxiety is an important, user spec. So that is what, these players have been, trying to optimize. And how they have been trying to optimize that is through chemistry. So for example, in LFP, they have started, they have changed the powder composition to make it higher and higher energy density. In NMC, they have added more and more nickel. It started with NMC 111, one nickel, 1 part manganese, 1 part cobalt. And then they went to, 532, 622, 811. 811 is, 8 parts nickel, 1 part cobalt, 1 part manganese. That nickel enhances the energy density. When energy density goes up, you get a lot longer range. So that, has been the, philosophy. Let's get more range. And we do that through modification of the chemistry, either through composition modification, as happened with NMC, or through powder size, powder size distribution, more of a powder metallurgy kind of innovation. On the other end of the spectrum is companies that are not trying to go with fundamental, well understood powders such as NMC and LFP and doing incremental changes to that for range. These companies are, looking at how do I hit it out of the park? How do I, come up with something that, for example, solid state battery? How do I come up with, just like double the energy density, just double the range in one shot? Similarly, there are companies which are saying that, how do I make, the mobility faster? How do I kind of, come up with an innovation, let's say in the electrolyte, so that, I can do faster charging, super fast charge. So that other segment, which is mostly startups, and also now larger companies are beginning to, walk down that path, but slowly and treading very carefully. But that startup space, which does material innovation, is thinking about how to, in the lab, build an amazing product. What they are lacking is what is the, how does this chemistry innovation tie back into a product? And how does that product fundamentally, that product that you are trying to build, how does that product fundamentally be able to be scaled? How does that product be able to be built at high volume manufacturing, high speed manufacturing? So that part is missing. And in addition, in that approach, basically of, newer chemistries, for example, solid state, better electrolytes, silicon anode. The other question, what about the supply chains? you have to think about the supply chain. Your supplier cannot be another startup such as you, which will, then, have a risk in scaling their component. So the supply chain, when you think about high speed manufacturing, high volume manufacturing, you have to think about repeatability, you have to think about design rules, and you have to think about supply chain so that you can truly scale. Those are missing in these fundamental approaches. And what these fundamental guys, fundamental approach segment, I would say, group is thinking is that let me build the cool tech and maybe someone else will, I will, license it out and someone else will build it at scale, which doesn't translate because then, when someone is trying to build it at scale, they are realizing the scaling issues, or as Elon says, manufacturing hell, and it's not panning out. Our approach is, very different from, both these classes. We are a product-based company. We want to have the supply chain secured. We want to be able to build at, high volume manufacturing at scale. So we want to, replicate, in many ways what the Panasonics, LGs, Samsungs, CATLs to build like large volume manufacturing of a product that we know, addresses a certain gap at scale. Now, what differentiates us, Simon, is two things. One is our innovation lies in product design. So what we are looking at, we are not looking at fundamentally how do I change the chemistry to go to a higher nickel, NMC, or, a smaller powdered, size distribution for the LFP. We are thinking about, given a certain kind of NMC, which we choose, it could be, single crystalline, could be polycrystalline, taking that fundamental molecule, understanding that molecule. How do I build my unit processes? How do I do the mixing process? How do I do the, electrode coating? How do I do the drying? What kind of specifications to hold there so that I can achieve the end goals of my product, which was determined by a unsatisfied, underserved, or, not being served customer segment, voice of customers. And how do I ensure that when I make those decisions, the tolerances are adding up well and I'm not constraining my integrated product, which will lead to defectivities and scaling issues. So what I'm thinking is, I'm taking components which are available, chemistries which are available in the market, so that supply chain issue is not an issue. I am designing my unit processes and my product integration based on specifications that, an underserved customer market is asking for. And through unit process and design innovation, be it mixing, code, and et cetera, putting all these together into a viable product which can be manufactured at scale. So that is our approach, which, is very differentiated from the existing two categories. That's why I call ourselves a lithium-ion cell product company, not a lithium-ion cell manufacturing company.
Yeah, or a technology company. I noticed you get a lot of early stage companies like you talk about really play on the technology. But tell me, where did this influence come from? Because it's an interesting perspective. What have been your major influences in order for you to take your company down this route?
No, that's again a very, very good question, Simon. So a lot of, I guess, my past experiences, both, educational as well as in corporate America, have shaped my thinking, my product-based approach, and in many ways make real kind of approach. At MIT, when I was doing my research was application based. So I wasn't doing fundamental experimental research. So the research I did always had to, translate into a workable solution, had to translate into something real. It was an application based research. In addition, very, very strong ethics and, make real product based approach exists at MIT. So that training, during my grad school there, working with some excellent, co-workers, co-students, different professors, including my own, shaped my thinking of, I need to have to always build real and build at scale. Transition to Intel, when I was working at Intel, at least, was the crowning glory of manufacturing in the US. Semiconductor manufacturing is very hard. Intel has, done has in the past. Now there are other questions coming up, but in the past, Intel has done a phenomenal job of, scaling and innovating. Like the approach I was talking about, is a tick-tock approach. You start with, something that is tenable, that is doable, build it, scale it. That's the tick. And then talk is basically you add ingredients to it which then, kind of increase or enhance the product performance, which is what we are trying to do. We got the tick all set. We understand our manufacturing process. The talk will be INMC chemistry, INMC prismatic cells, which will, then squeeze, all the learnings in the manufacturing, the tick to deliver a slam dunk talk product. So Intel had a, big influence. They have a product based approach. They have a scale manufacturing approach. They have a, building a business and building a profitable business approach. Last but not the least was in the senior position at Applied Materials, driving their data programs, AI and ML. Have over 20 granted patents internationally, which came through three and a half years at Applied. Applied also does a phenomenal job as a product based company in a very different segment, equipment space. A big part of having worked at Applied Materials, which is the world's largest semiconductor capital equipment company, enabled my thinking along the lines that the product needs to be built with equipment. You need to understand the equipment so that the product is centered at the sweet spot of the equipment, because the equipment, they are, they are divas, they have their own, moods, and they have their own, ways of acting. So you want to make sure that, your product is centered at the capabilities of the equipment so that it's not influenced by time drift of the equipment or, equipment to equipment variability. It can translate into multiple equipments. Learned a lot of those, the respect for the equipment that is making your product through my journey at Applied. Also learned about all the three places, MIT, Intel, Applied, were product, build the product at scale, innovate, build again at scale, innovate again, build again at scale. And very importantly, as you go through this journey, build a sustainable, profitable business addressing the needs of your customer. So customer needs very, very important for us. Yeah,
absolutely. Tell me about I know you guys have made fantastic progress. You've mentioned, in terms of a 50 megawatt facility in South Korea, right? Am I right in thinking? And I read about your arrangement in India now to really build this full-scale manufacturing facility. Tell us a little bit about that and what the next few years looks like from a commercialization viewpoint from yourself.
Sure. No, that's, again, excellent question, Simon. So you're absolutely correct. We, designed the product in the US, did a lot of the sensitivity analysis, and then we set up, as manufacturing scale up happens, set up a pilot facility or a ramp facility, which has a nameplate capacity of 50 megawatt hour in South Korea. Typically, manufacturing scale ups happens that way. You don't, build a few in the lab and try to build large gigafactories. You start with a mid step, which is a pilot or ramp. And typically the rule of thumb for scaling is you can then take your pilot and ramp and scale 10 to 30x of, what your pilot is. So our pilot is 50 megawatt hour. It can scale to anywhere between 500 to 1.5 gigawatt hour through the scaling rules. So that's where, having built that having built that pilot facility in Korea, we are, fully commissioned. We built the facility in record time. It was a brownfield facility, 35,000 square feet, very advanced facility, one of the driest facilities in the world, one of the cleanest facilities in the world today. So very cutting edge, has some of the best data systems that we have built in, with collaboration with a partner in Korea, very data savvy. And, most importantly, after the, factory was commissioned in 6 months, we commissioned the equipment in a month. And then within a month, we were able to center the product. And then by the end of month 10, we had global third-party certification, which is called United Nations 38.3. And then by the end of the year, in 12-month time, we also got the BIS, which is Bureau of Indian Standards third-party certification. So literally within a year, 12 months, in record time, we were able to build a factory, commission the factory, build a product, and get all third-party certifications for that product. And since January 2024, we are commercially shipping to India. We are, working with, we are field validated on the product. You can actually come to Bangalore and sit on one of the scooters, which is being powered by international battery company Prabal 1000 cells. So, feel free to, you or the, your viewership, anytime you are in Bangalore, please ping me /Simon. Happy to, get you guys driving experience. Driving experience has been fantastic. Range has been amazing. So from a product built from Korea and scale up and proliferation in India, it's going pretty good. Getting a lot of good, the ecosystem is accepting. us as true, pioneers and thinkers and collaborators. Now comes the giga. The next stage from 50 megawatt hour is to build a gigafactory. We call it a mother line. It's called a small giga. And then from a 1 gigafactory, small giga, you can scale to much larger gigas, which is like 10 giga, 20 giga, 30 giga. We are just beginning to build our 1 giga. We are finalizing our land and other requirements. Our goal is sometime in end of Q3, early Q4, we will do groundbreaking and start building our giga factory in India. It's going to be a 1 gigawatt hour factory that we will build with a 500 megawatt hour line. So we have designed a 500 megawatt hour equipment line. The second line will come later. So we'll build the 1 giga factory with two 500 mega lines, put that 500 mega line on the floor first. So it's a 10x scaling from 50 megawatt hour.
How long will that take?
That will take, a year and 3 months at least. So, 2025 end is realistically when we are thinking we will start seeing something getting churned out of that factory. We will start, seeing product coming out of the factory. The great thing is that because we already have the pilot, there are a couple of things we don't have to deal with. These are called offtake gaps. So what happens is when your factory starts producing, you need to actually validate the product, get the UN 38.3 BIS. That takes 6 months to a year. And then you have to deploy at customers and actually get to a stage where the customer has conviction that it can be, delivered at scale in their product. Having that pilot solves that problem for us. We have already done UN 38.3 BIS. We will be, customer tested for 2 years when, our product starts rolling up the India Gigafactory. So we will have the opportunity to, not have to wait for customer adoption while we are manufacturing at, the millions per year. We will be able to quickly deploy it. Our goal is that within 5 years, we will go from 1 giga to 5 giga. So put an additional 4 gigawatt hour factory. And a 10-year roadmap, who knows, but definitely want to scale to 10, 20 giga at least in the next 10 years. But execution focus, baby steps, pilot going well, customer adoption going well. Let's focus on the giga before we, do the big talk of the 10s and 20 gigas. Our focus is very solely on what needs to be done to set up our gigafactory with our 500 mega first line, to demonstrate that we can actually build this product repeatably at the giga scale in the mother line. Everything else will happen, if you make real, and this is coming from our partners, I'm just taking credit for this saying on this show, make real. Continuously keep building, continuously, build tangibles, continuously make real based on, a well thought out strategy coming from inputs of multiple experts who have been there, done that for, anywhere between, 15 to 30 years in their life. And once you build real, nature, karma, the world will take care of it.
It's a great journey. I mean, it really is. It's pretty unique, really, from what I've heard. If I consider the last 90 odd guests that I've spoken with, just how quickly you're scaling this. Tell me, when you look at the journey, I know you need to get a lot of components right, but what are the most important things you need to get right in order to have a chance with this?
Sure. Again, great question, Simon. Again, I was thinking this is the logical next question, and you said it. So really appreciate that. Very, 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 very good question, Simon. When you are building, something like this, it's of course very challenging. That is why you can literally on your fingertips, on your hand, basically count how many startups have been actually able to deliver a product in the field. To the best of my knowledge, maybe 1 or 2, including us. So that's where, this journey has been hard. It is very, very complex. We got a lot of things wrong and learned through that experience. But what aided us in the journey was from the very get-go, Simon, the team. Team is very, very important. Having people who have been there, done that, having the experience allows you to make the at least decisions which are 90% right and not 10% right. That experience kicks in. You start kind of collaborating, negotiating, working together as a team to try to find the right solution. And typically when it's backed by experience, more often than not, it is the right solution that you kind of zero in on. In addition to that, the team needs to be highly motivated. It is not easy. it's a lot of sacrifices, personal as well as from a professional perspective. Everyone in the team, this is manufacturing is very experienced, so they have sacrificed high paying jobs to transition to a very low paying job at IBC, but driven by the mission, driven by our vision, and driven by that hard work and collaborative approach is very, very important. Other thing, Simon, is partnerships. So, we have a good partnership in South Korea. It's very, very important to have a collaborative, very collaborative, co-working organization which addresses certain issues, be it, being able to build a brownfield, be it, components. We need partners to be like us, searching for excellence so that you can come together, because in this complex field cannot do everything yourself. So, team partnership has been very, very, very important. Third, I would say, something that, is very key is product. Even though our product is differentiated and people harp a lot on differentiated product, I want to, come back to the point of, design of product, design for high-speed manufacturing. That enabled a lot for us, Simon, because our design was such that we didn't struggle. We were not trying to, crank the wheel, push the design to the extreme. So that allowed us to, for the design to be more forgiving to our unit process variations. It's called the sensitivity. The end of line sensitivity of the product to the inline wasn't very high. So that's why we could, as we started the process, even the variability of our unit processes were wider. The product distribution came out to be pretty tight, and we could get a very good understanding and very high confidence that we can build this product. So the stabilization times became smaller, and the confidence, grew very fast and, very high. And we could send these for third-party certification. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sent for third-party certification. And then again, after that, right now, our unit process is very tight. But because of this philosophy of the product, we are hitting more than 90% yield already. And industry standard is somewhere between 78 to 80 to 83% yield. And so big picture, I would say, team, partnership, and product, design for high-speed manufacturing, which enabled us to move so fast in the journey. Again, we'll take this opportunity to thank our investors, have very, very, long-term vision investors. They understand this is, play for the long. Don't try to come in and get out. That's not, what's driving there. They're driven by sustainability. They're driven by, the ideals, the vision of, being, building something that's, long-term. We have the opportunity to build an Apple, build, an IBM, an Intel, those kind of like large legacy companies, the Tesla of India. So they are, the capital is patient and the capital is collaborative. So really appreciative of our investors. Have an amazing group of advisors. A lot of them, are, literally they get nothing from us, but they participate and help us. We can, reach out to them whenever we want to for problem solving. So the community, the ecosystem, be it, our investors, be it our advisors, and more importantly, even customers, our customers have been fantastic. They are very collaborative, very, patient in, trying to understand what we have built and integrate it into battery packs and their solutions. So overall, I would say I can take credit for all of this myself, but that wouldn't be being honest. It is the community, the community ecosystem, multiple players, the team, partners, investors, customers, everyone have come together to enable us, to support us in the journey. But I hope it is because, they also, can see that we are trying to build something real. We are trying to put something on the ground. We are trying to scale something in the ground. What we are building is phenomenal. What we are building is important. So again, special thanks to everyone in the community. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Listen, thank you, Priyadarshi. Look, for sharing your incredible journey and your insights. It's really inspiring to hear about the groundbreaking work that you've done over the last few years. And it really sounds like you're onto a winner with the revolution of energy storage and mobility as well, right? So your vision and dedication to solving these critical problems in the industry are truly commendable. And to our listeners, I really hope that you found the discussion as enlightening as we did. Stay tuned for more episodes of Leaders on a Mission, where we continue to explore the stories and the strategies of those driving impactful change. So until next time, keep leading with purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.